Hey guys, welcome back to the interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with our final updated complete guide for Varus, and today we'll be taking a look at AP Varus. So of course, as usual, don't forget to check out Varus's basic guide that I posted by now a couple of days ago already. I'll put it up in the cards above for his skills, leveling, order tips and tricks, as well as Varus's combos. So I believe this is the fifth Varus variant that I'm covering, and that's by far the most for any champion. No other champion has like 5 different viable builds, and overall after testing like all of them, I think all of them are good. All of them have their different strengths and weaknesses, but by far the one I played the most is AP Varus. Now, mostly because I kind of really wasn't good at AP Varus. I didn't really like AP Varus all that much. So I played like more than 20 plus games of AP Varus in the past couple of days. So now I've tried out a lot of different builds in terms of like which items to build first and which items to build second. And I've also tried out like a lot of different runes as well, so I think I know what I'm talking about when I go through all of the items and the runes, as well as the spells actually. And this is of course my personal preference. Of course there are other ways to play AP Varus as well, but I'm gonna get straight into it and not waste any more time. So first item, I don't think anyone's gonna argue with this one, is gonna be Nashor's Tooth as your first item. So this gives you ability haste and 45% attack speed, and then it also gives you AD/AP, and then of course it gives you the on-hit damage scaling off of AD and AP, which is going to be dealt as magic damage. So the thing is, when you first buy this item, because Varus is an ADC, you're actually going to get this as an AD item. You need to buy one Amp Tome to convert it into an AP item. So that's something you want to take note of, is that when you first buy this item, it's going to be an AD item. Now, this is a double-edged sword. On one hand, having this item as an AD item at the early stages of the game is not too bad, because it's kind of better like for just your general normal auto attacks and stuff. However, you're gonna get a lot less burst from your blight stacks, as well as like when you ult someone, that kind of thing. So that's sort of just a trade-off. Overall, I think on AP Varus, you want this to be an AP item as fast as possible. So if you can back and get Nashor's Tooth plus Amp Tome, that's going to be the more optimal thing compared to just getting Nashor's Tooth itself. So unlike some other champions where I actually think getting Nashor's Tooth, even when you're going for an AP build as an AD item at the start, is not too bad. So now, second item. Some people are going for Death Cap second item, but personally I think that the actual AP on Varus, it is important, but of course you know they nerfed Varus's AP ratios and such, and I think that it's mostly a lot of percent max health AP damage anyway. So I actually think that instead of going for Death Cap second, I feel like going for a Riftmaker second is actually more helpful. For one main reason. The main reason is that even though AP Varus is a lot focused on one-shotting someone with your alt W into Q combo, however, with the Nashor's Tooth, you actually have a lot of attack speed and a lot of on-hit damage. So with Riftmaker as your second item, you actually have an alternative playstyle as AP Varus, which is instead of only one-shotting people, you can also actually do a little bit of auto attack damage like a normal ADC. So with the Riftmaker, you get a little bit of health, AP of course, ability haste, and Omnivamp, but you also get the Void Corruption passive, where after 3 seconds in combat, you gain an extra 9% damage and you deal true damage with that extra damage. Now what this does is, number one, it increases the damage of your combo, because by the time you ult someone and the blight stacks charge up, you're going to charge up your Q with your W. This Riftmaker is going to be activated, so you're going to deal that bonus true damage when you do your combo. That's number one. But number two, with the Omnivamp and the Void Corruption, like when you are auto-attacking people, you're going to be, of course, life-stealing, number one, and number two, you're going to be dealing true damage as well. So that's really, really helpful for just normal basic attacks. So from my testing, I preferred Riftmaker personally as a second item. For the boots, you want to go for Lucidity boots, of course, because this gives you shorter cooldowns for especially your W, but also your Q and your E, which are also very important when you're going for AP. So that's pretty standard. Most matches you will go for Stasis, but I have actually had a lot of matches where I end up going QSS just because of how much CC there is on the enemy team. I've had a couple of matches where there was like Yumi, Zaya, Mumu, and there's so much CC on the enemy team, QSS becomes very valuable, but most of the time it's going to be Stasis. So after that you get the Death Cap, obviously AP injection, this one doesn't need too much of an explanation. And then I actually also tested building Infinity Orb before Death Cap, but I didn't like it. I tested building Void Staff before Infinity Orb, I didn't like it as well. So this is the order I actually like for all my AP items, like this whole order: Nashers into Riftmaker, into Deathcap, and then into Infinity Orb. Of course, for the Magic Penetration, more AP, as well as, you know, that crit when people are on low health. So now the reason why crit on low health is actually pretty important is because even though you can like one-shot someone with your ult combo, you can only really do that to like 1 or 2 people. A lot of times when you're playing AP Varus, a lot of the burst actually comes from just auto-attacking people down, stacking up the blind onto them, and then when they're low, you just instant release an arrow without charging to pop the blight stacks. So this makes it such that Infinity Orb is very useful for when they're in those low health situations, and getting that crit when they're below 35% health becomes really, really important in this circumstance. And finally, of course, you go for Void Staff for armor, Magic Penetration. Now, the Magic Penetration, in my opinion, on Varus is not too important, which is why we only go for it last item, because as I said, you do a lot of percent max health magic damage with your W, so Magic Pen is a little bit less important than other AP champions, which is why you're going for it last item. So now for the runes. Now I've actually tested multiple runes. So I've tested Conquer, I tested Kraken Slayer, and I tested Lethal Tempo. Now I have to say Conquer and Kraken Slayer are both good, but I like actually taking Lethal Tempo because I actually found that with the Nash's Tooth and with the attack speed from Lethal Tempo, number one, in lane, you're going to be a lot stronger because you're attacking really, really quickly, and number two, in longer team fights, having the stacked up Lethal Tempo is really useful for putting on the Blight stacks. Now the reason why I don't go for Conquer in this build is because I think that the attack speed is critical to apply the Blight stacks so you can pop them with your W, because without popping your W, you don't have very much damage with AP Varus, and in this case, the attack speed really just becomes more important to get the stacks on than Conquer to actually get physically more AP and Omnivamp. So that's why I don't go for Conquer. Now I actually tried Kraken Slayer as well because I thought that, you know, you may not need attack speed. You have attack speed from here already. Kraken Slayer works very well. Now, it kind of did work well, but just in comparison, Lethal Tempo is better because Kraken Slayer doesn't give you any attack speed, but it just gives you pure damage, and I think attack speed is more important for putting on the stacks. Okay, so now for the runes. For the first rune slot for the Domination rune, I've actually tested multiple runes. I've tested Gathering Storm. It's way too slow. It doesn't really work very well. I tested Hunter Vampirism. It does work, but I don't think it's the best rune. I tested Scorch to kind of help you with your lane. It does work as well, but again, it's not the best rune. I think the best rune is actually Weakness, because with Weakness, you only get to activate it with your ulti, granted. However, it helps you to one-shot people when you ult. So when you ult W, Q someone, that person should mostly be getting one-shot, not 100 to 0, but maybe like 90%, 80% of their health kind of deal, and then you finish them off with just like 1 or 2 more autos. So Weakness really, really helps in this, and also helps your teammates to do more damage, because don't forget that Varus ult also spreads to multiple other enemies, so it's going to help your teammates to do more damage as well, not just yourself. So I think Weakness is actually the best here. Now for the Resolve one, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be either Bone Plating or Perseverance, depending on how much CC or burst there is in the match. And for the last one, it's going to be Mana Flow Ban. Now, I've obviously tried Sweet Tooth, I've tried Transcendence, but you need Mana Flow Ban simply for the mana, because you need the mana to pop your W and to pop your Q as well. And without mana, you're going to be in deep trouble because you're not going to be able to use your spells, which means you're not going to be doing any damage. So, spells. I like to take Ghost and Flash. So you can also take Exhaust and Flash, but I think that mobility is really important on Varus, which is why I think Ghost is better 90% of the time. In those few matches where you have like too many assassins and such, then Exhaust will come in handy, but for the most part, Ghost is going to be the main way to go. So all that out the way, let's jump into the gameplay. Alright, so jumping into the gameplay. As usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will of course be sure to address them, or at least drop a like. Okay, so now, with AP Varus, because you're going for Nash's Tooth first item, you have to go for a Dagger as your starting item, which is not very ideal. However, you don't have a choice, because the Nash's component, the other one is 800 gold, and obviously you can't get it at the start. So, anyways, here Seraphine starts off with getting a Root Electrocute onto Kai'Sa. We proc both of their Bone Platings. And here you can see the kind of Lethal Tempo value. Here I'm having Lethal Tempo at about 4 stacks. So here you can see I get 2 more attacks. I get a max stack Lethal Tempo. I start at W, and just look at this, just auto-attacking them down. Now, of course, I nearly die here. I do end up trading 1 for 1 with the Kai'Sa, but think it wasn't. I think it was actually a pretty alright situation there. Although me and Seraphine used both of our sums, whereas Kai'Sa didn't actually use any of hers because she thought she could kill me, but she ended up not actually getting the kill. Here Seraphine tries to chase the Pyke, but Kai'Sa comes in with the flash Q and gets the kill onto Seraphine. So at least Kai'Sa flash is indeed down. But anyways, here normally you don't start W level 1. You normally start like Q or E. You normally take W like level 2. But because you can see that we're having like an all-in kind of fight, I actually didn't level anything, and you shouldn't actually level anything like when you're in the base. You should only level a skill when you need it, like in the lane, which is like something that most people actually do know. But what happened here is that since I saw we're attacking them, like we're auto-attacking them, I actually leveled W midway through the fight. If you rewind, you realize my first few autos didn't actually stack anything onto them, and I only started stacking after my first few autos. So I pumped, leveled up, my W, and I popped my W to do that bonus on hit damage. Of course, you want to pop W at level 1 because you don't have your Q or E to pop the blight stacks anyway, so doubling your on-hit damage kind of makes a lot more sense. So here Pyke tries to go in, Kai'Sa ends up missing the W because of Pyke's stun. But here I of course popped the W, I popped the Q as well, popped Kai'Sa's blight stacks, and I managed to get her like killed. I have my full stack lethal tempo, but I don't really want to tussle with the Pyke. So I'm just going to go back, pick up the fruit, and then I'm just going to continue on farming. So far, it's not been too bad. We do have level 5 now, so it's kind of a very action-packed early game. Now most Varus games don't go this way. Now most of the time, especially when I'm playing AP Varus, here I get hooked by the Pyke, but I have ult, so I'm not quite sure what he's actually doing. So here I just easily just one-shot him. He basically donates a free kill. But what I was trying to say is that most AP Varus lanes don't go this way, especially because you're building AP. You don't have a lot of poke with your Q and your E. So most of the time what happens is you generally get shoved in. You use your blight stacks and your Q to sort of clear the wave so that you don't get like destroyed on the tower. Here Kai'Sa is trying to kill Seraphine. Seraphine's 1 HP. Kai'Sa ults under the tower, but basically when you do that, you know you're trading 1-for-1 with the Seraphine, and I don't think that that's a good move from Kai'Sa. I wouldn't do that if I were her, obviously, because you're giving me a kill and you're killing Seraphine. But I guess she's desperate for kills at this point. She's 3-3-1. I'm 4-1. Because most of the time Seraphine has been the target, so I do manage to get my Nashor's Tooth and M-Tome. As I mentioned, the M-Tome converts Nashor's Tooth into AP, so that's going to give me of course AP now that I have the M-Tome. Full Nashor's Tooth plus M-Tome on first back, because I haven't been able to back. I've been trying to do that, but the fight never stops apparently. This is one of the most action-packed Varus lanes that I've ever played. I guess it's good for like you guys, the viewers, because it's gonna be a lot more entertaining than me just farming waves, getting shoved in farming waves, and such. So here a fight happens. I pop the Ghost to run there more quickly. I ult the Kai'Sa. I get ulted by the Vi. Seraphine manages to get the kill onto her. Vi flashes forward to kill Seraphine. I block Vi's Q so she can't escape. I miss my E, which I thought she was going to jump onto me, but she did not. She ended up running away. Either way, I do end up getting the kill onto Vi. Resetting my Ghost, I rush back to lane and pick up the fruit and go back to farming the minions. So, pretty good start. We're 5-1-1, really fair. That's like more than 1 kill per minute. It's only 4.5 minutes at this point. Not very normal for AP Varus. Now I have had a lot of games that actually I do get fed in lane, because the thing about AP Varus is that if there's a squishy enemy who oversteps when you have ult, you can actually just ult them and like pretty much it's almost going to be a free kill every time. You don't one-shot them 100-0 of course, but you basically minus like 70% of their health or so, and then you can basically just run them down if they're overextended. This may not work if they're outside their tower, but if they're in the middle of the lane, or worse, closer to your side of the lane, they're definitely gonna die. There's no way they can escape you ulting them and just going for the one shot. So here Dragon is actually up. My ult is up, and normally you want to try to wait for your you want to not wait, but you want to try to make sure your ult is up when you go for objectives. Here as you can see, Kai'Sa gets caught, and here we try to one-shot her. She actually ults forward, kills Seraphine, ends up trading 1-for-1 again. Not too bad considering the situation that she was in. Here I get engaged on by the Vi, and I have to ghost and flash to escape. I was trying to actually ghost out, but after Pike eat there, if I get stunned, I die. So I had to flash forward, or rather flash backward into the tower so I don't get hit by Pike's E. So I ended up having to blow both sums. And you will find that sometimes when you're playing Varus, you do have to blow both sums to just escape and not die, which is not optimal, but it's alright. It's not too bad having to blow both sums to not die, because after all you did save your own life by popping both your sums, but it does also mean you don't have ghosts to play aggressively and like run after people and that sort of deal. During this time, the enemy team did manage to pick up the dragon, obviously because our jungle wasn't there and I was also dead, but at the end of the day, it's only first dragon, it's not too big of a deal. And yeah, so here we are going to go for the tower. Kai'Sa is alone for now, so here we're just focusing on the tower, getting ourselves some plates. Kai'Sa gets rooted again. I managed to ult her. Again, we go for the one-shot combo. Her exhaust, her as well as her ult manages to actually help her to survive, which I cannot believe. We killed the Pyke instead, who plays ultra aggressive even though Kai'Sa is like on 0 HP there. But instead, I guess we're gonna have to sell for the tower as our consolation prize. Here I was posturing forward to see if she was recalling in a greedy position and I would be able to snipe her out. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I get the tower gold. Seraphine actually moves away, so I get solo tower gold. However, she kind of gets caught by Twisted Fate. However, me and Lee Sin are here to save the day. Twisted Fate ends up dying, so we again end up trading 1 for 1. Seraphine here, KDA is like 2, 6, and 7, not looking too hot. However, pretty much all of her deaths are like 1 for 1 trades for like kills on me. So you can notice that she has 6 deaths for my 8 kills, which I guess at the end of the day kind of works out for me. She's also building more supportively, so it ultimately kind of works out. You can see that Kai'Sa is also more or less dying 1 for 1. In terms of, she's always trading 1 for 1 before she dies. She's like 5 and 6, so roughly she gets a kill for each death. And it's kind of like really entertaining laning phase for now. So now we have like 2 items. Now 2 items obviously is when you're really strong, and 3 items is when you start like one-shotting people. So here with 2 items we're really strong at this point. And obviously we're way ahead of the curve because we're really fed. We're at like 8k gold, around the same as Lee Sin, and that's 2k gold ahead of almost anyone on the enemy team. So here we've got bot tower. We're gonna like rotate mid and try to force down mid tower. Of course, mid tower is a very important tower of the game, and the earlier you can get it down, the easier it is for your team and their rotations through the enemy jungle. So here we're collectively as 4 trying to force down the mid tower, and we do manage to do that. Vi and Kai'Sa are coming off on the right flank. However, they realize the tower is gone and they cannot really, flank us without their tower there. It's not going to look too good for them because my team is, me and Lee Sin especially are ahead, although Lee Sin was not in that fight. Their team is still doing alright though. Their team as a collective is only like 2k gold behind our team, so this match is very far from won. Here I'm just shadowing the Seraphine. Vi goes in onto the Seraphine. Here I'm going for the full combo onto the Vi. I do get it, and this time Seraphine actually lives and does not end up trading 1 for 1, thankfully. So here we're just gonna quickly clear out this wave. Kai'Sa is actually pushing bot, and so we're gonna just try to trade, and we're gonna try to go for mid tower instead. We can't really reach bot to defend at this point. Here the Pyke comes in, tries to ult the Seraphine for the execute. Seraphine actually flashes. Here I'm flashing the wall. Unfortunately, I run into the Kai'Sa who was coming up on the rotation from the bot lane. I actually thought Kai'Sa was going to recall and come through from base, but she actually just straight up went, for the more aggressive slash dangerous route of just cutting us off straight up, which I was not expecting because that was not a very safe way to go. But it does end up working out for her because she cuts off my escape and she picks up the shutdown onto me. A small thing to note here is Kai'Sa actually has the wit's end, which is giving her the magic resist. So I'm having a hard time one-shotting her, of course. And Urgot also is going like full lethality for some reason. So he has Age of Night. I can't really ult him either. So there's a couple of annoyances to play as a AP Varus. Now here I thought Kai'Sa was going for the last fruit, so I kind of ulted her. Tried to ult her when she was invisible, but she ended up walking the other direction. So I don't quite get the ult, but either way, my team and myself, we're still in really good shape. We managed to secure the second dragon, and here I'm just clearing wave, but I realized that a fight is possibly breaking out. Lee Sin actually goes in, And here I realize I can't really clear wave anymore. I'm gonna have to rotate. But as that happens, Kai'Sa engages onto the Seraphine. Unfortunately, I cannot really help the Seraphine because the only way I can help her is to ult the Kai'Sa, but I cannot really do that without Seraphine dying first. So I decide to just back off so that I don't become the next victim, especially since Kai'Sa did not yet use her ultimate. Now everybody dies except for me and Malphite, so me and Malphite are left to defend 2v4 this siege on the mid lane. Kai'Sa does rotate over to the top lane to try to push top. Malphite goes over to respawn, so I'm left alone to defend this mid lane. Thankfully, it looks like they're not pushing anymore because they don't have wave. The next wave does come. Twisted Fate flashes forward to try to stun card me, but he ends up doing it to the tower. Now here I actually get ulted by the Urgot, but thankfully for me, the tower and my team are able to kill the Urgot before his ulti can go through, so I do end up surviving by the skin of my teeth, and I am able to recall and start picking up my death cap components. Now, on AP Varus, I like to actually delay my boot enchant until after death cap, because I think death cap is such a huge power spike. I only really go for my boot enchant early if I really need it to survive, but in this case I haven't really been ulted by the Vi yet. I haven't been ulted by the Pike either, and I don't think the rest of the team is a huge problem for now, because I haven't really faced an assassination issue in this particular game. So I'm just going for the death cap first. I did go for lucidity boots though, because the lucidity is the cooldown is pretty important on AP Varus. I did go for that. Also, having the extra movement speed is really helpful for running away or even chasing people down. So here I'm gonna actually just farm up the jungle since Kill is going for that bottom wave and I'm really far from the top wave. I think that the most logical thing to do here is to just farm jungle. Mid wave should be pushing in relatively soon. There we go, mid wave does push in, so I'm gonna kite the jungle camp towards the mid lane and then go around the wall to go ahead and start farming the mid wave. So here I think I should have death cap, so here I'm gonna pick up the death cap. So now I'm on the 3 core item power spike on AP Varus, so I should be able to start one-shotting people now. Now another annoying thing, Vi now has Wits End too, so it's gonna be really hard to one-shot Vi and Kai'Sa, and Urgot has Age of Night, so this is kind of a really annoying match to play against because everyone starts to itemize defensively for me. Obviously this does make sense because Kill decided to build AP, I decided to build AP, Seraphine is AP, and Malphite is tank. Lee Sin is the only AD of the team. Now here Lee Sin kicks the Vi away from my ulti, so I don't manage to hit the ult. Still managed to pick up the kill though, and we do manage to pick up the kill on Kai'Sa as well. Malphite gets hooked in by Pike, tanks the hook for me. Thank you Malphite. And here together as a team we can force down this mid lane inhibitor. Urgot is actually off on a split push journey and is trying to push down our inhibitor. So here I wanted to actually recall to stop him, but Twisted Fate ult comes in. I'm trying to actually help Malphite. I didn't really need to do that, but either way I couldn't really recall in the middle of the lane. So Seraphine is the only person who manages to actually recall and try to stop Urgot, but Urgot already has gotten the tower. So at the end of the day, we weren't very successful in stopping Urgot's split push, you could say. So here I end up going back to get my stasis. So not a very ideal situation here. We lost a side lane inhibitor for a mid lane inhibitor, which is a really good trade for the enemy team. Side lane inhibitor is always more important than mid lane inhibitor, so it's a very positive trade for them. Here Seraphine gets hooked in, doesn't actually get executed. Here I get the full combo off on Pike, nearly one-shot him, one more auto will do. Twisted Fate dies as well. Malphite has the huge slow zone with that frozen gauntlet. And here Lee Sin goes in trying to get the steal on Dragon. Urgot was lying in wait for me. I have to pop the stasis. Kill actually pops his Age of Night. I flash over and I ult him. I do get the kill on him. Kai'Sa tries to go in on me. Because of shield bow, she cannot get bursted fast enough and I do end up dying to her. But either way, my team ends up getting an ace and we do end up securing the Dragon. So it basically all kind of worked out. Although me and Lee Sin, our two most fed members, did end up dying eventually. Does work out in the end, so it's not too bad. Kale's actually going for the exact same build as me. She has also gone for Nashor's into Riftmaker into Rabadon's, but she's just a little bit behind, sorry, compared to me. Of course, mainly because of a KDA, but in terms of goals, she's actually keeping up quite quite nicely. She should be able to get her Rabadons on her next back already, so that should be good. So anyways, here me and Lee Sin have respawned. The only objective up on the map at the moment now is Baron, and Elder is still a couple minutes away from actually spawning. So here, something AP Varus wants is going to be blue buff. So red buff doesn't really matter too much to AP Varus, but blue buff is going to be way more important. Of course, it's nice to have red buff, but blue buff is what you really want, which is what we get. Here I'm just going to control ward the Baron to ensure that we have vision on the Baron, and just as I do that, it gets spotted out by the Squire's Bloom. Hopefully it doesn't get removed instantly. So here Vi is in the mid lane, so we do want to try to track where the enemy team members are. Here Vi, you can see Vi backing, and this is a huge mistake because Vi backed and the minion spotted her. What this means is that she's going to take time to walk out from base to the Baron, and now the Baron is so squishy that when any mistake made by the jungler or the ADC sometimes can basically mean a free Baron for the enemy team. You back at the wrong time as a jungler, Baron's gone. You are on the wrong side of the map, when Baron's up, Baron's gone. Same thing could be said for ADC, depending on how fed your ADC is, and that's our deal. Sometimes if the ADC is on the wrong side of the map, enemy team can just pick up a free Baron because your ADC or main damage is not there. So if you contest, they can just turn on you, and you know it's going to be either a free Baron or a free fight into a free Baron. So in this match, macro, it becomes way more important compared to last patch, which is something that's, I guess you could say, that's kind of nice that macro is getting a bigger focus. But you also see a lot of game losing throws from like your jungle when they end up on the wrong side of the map, when they shouldn't be. So here I actually get caught out, but I managed to actually survive because of Seraphine, and I managed to trade. It's not even trade, but I managed to actually one-shot the Twisted Fate off of my alt combo. Twisted Fate is down, and the enemy team is at a significant numbers disadvantage. Lee Sin's getting chased by 3 people here. Vi ults me, I stasis to prevent myself from getting CC'd, and Vi can't really do anything after that. So here Kai'Sa tries to go in despite being 1 HP, not sure why. Vi tries to go back in, I have my ult back up, I ult her, and I nearly managed to one-shot her, but Kill with the now completed Death Cap is able to finish off the rest of them, gets herself a triple kill. Of course, on 3 items and level 15, Kill is super duper strong, and we do manage to end the game off of that team fight win. So, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this like huge series of like Varus builds and Varus videos. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.